I'm a very proud next level coach here at Summit Funding. Before I introduce the speakers, guys, if you have a question today, please put it in the chat screen. We will be monitoring the chat screen so Victoria can make sure she answers your questions. If we run out of time today and your question does not get answered, Victoria, I would love to be able to send you the questions so we can get them answered, and we'll try to get you back as quick as we can. If you can let us know what market you're in so we can get you answers. Guys, today I'm very excited to be able to introduce one of the best that has ever done it. He is the head coach over at Next Level Coaching at Summit Funding. I am very honored to introduce Jimmy Reed.
Wow, hold on. Okay, I can be heard. All right, I got to click a button. It says, there it is. Hey, how you guys doing? It looks like we have 57 screens with a bunch of groups, so we probably have 150 people. Guys, we do this every month as a way to give back to our realtor partners. We want to come to our business partners a little differently than other lenders. We want to give you some content. We want to give you a chance to learn from each other. We have guest speakers that are realtors. We have guest speakers that are entrepreneurs. We try to mix it up. Today, our format is we're having what I call a boutique realtor. A boutique realtor is, you ever meet a realtor who has a really big team? It's them and maybe, I don't know, 8, 9, or 10 buyer's agents. And I'm off center, but that's all right. They have like 8, 9, or 10 buyer's agents, and they tell you they do 16 sides a month. And it's like, wow, how could I ever do that? And it gets so far out there. It's such a stretch that we never even try. That's how I work. When I see somebody that seems untouchable, I just don't even try. So I really don't like that as a mentorship or that as a goal to have something I can't achieve. So I was thinking about during this time in our market where it's changed quite a bit at a pretty fast pace, the most it's ever changed, the fastest. And Todd one time in one of our events said there's basically 3 choices that we have in business. This is for loan officers and for realtors. 1 is sit in the corner and cry about it. 2 is quit and go do something else for a living. And 3 is learn new skills and adjust to the market and come out the other side a winner. And this lady, her name is Victoria Witham, and she's a personal friend of mine. She's clearly one who adjusts and comes out a winner over and over again. I want to share some numbers with you in a minute, but I want to start by telling you how I know her. Do you remember how we met, Victoria? Okay, so I actually cold called her, and I actually said if she wanted to meet with me, she had to come to my office. And she showed up, lucky for me. And I think I was just dumb luck timing, to be honest. I think that she had a frustration at the moment. She'll tell us in a minute. But I met with her and I knew right away that she's super professional and someone I wanted to work with. And that was almost 7 years ago. And since then, we've been business partners and I've enjoyed every minute of it. Just to share some numbers. She'll tell you a little bit about her story, but I want to share some numbers with you. In the last 2 years, she's averaging about 40 sides and about 20 million. A little more, a little less. She's done as many as, what's your biggest unit year ever, Victoria?
93 sides.
And she doesn't do buyer's agents. She has a boutique shop with her and either 1 assistant, maybe 2. Sometimes she'll have someone showing property. Sometimes she doesn't. At least that's my take on the way you run your business. She'll tell us in a minute. So it's someone who goes out and does the work themselves. These are all listings she went and met with. These are all buyers she met with and helped write the offers on and negotiated the contracts. And I don't know how she gets it all done, to be honest, but hopefully today she'll let us in on that. So as many as that, and how much volume was that by chance?
What do you mean? On the 93?
Yeah, when you did 90 units or whatever.
No, I didn't even look at it. Back then, prices were a lot lower, so it's probably around 27.
Yeah. Anyways, lots of volume, lots of consistent units. So without further ado, remember the format of this call is Victoria's going to share her story. I'm going to go through some questions with her to try to get some good information out of her. And your guys' job is to put really good questions in the chat. We're going to do 25 minutes of us yapping and then 25 minutes of good questions and answers. So you can get some tactics to take home to your business, to copy from her. And she's doing this as a personal favor to me, so thank you for that. Without further ado, this is my friend Victoria Witham, the boutique realtor, professional boutique realtor. Maybe you can start by sharing your story and we'll kind of take it from there, how you got in this crazy business.
Okay, so a little bit about me. I grew up in a family that built custom homes. So we were always looking for land, working with architects, always in real estate at some level. And then never, my parents weren't in real estate per se, just, building houses. And then fast forward, 2003, I'd been married 18 years. I was a stay-at-home mom and going through a divorce. And several of my friends recommended real estate. And I said, okay. I remember telling my attorney at the time I was going to go into new home sales. And she's like, no, don't do that. Like, it's too competitive. You can't get in there. And luckily did not listen to her. Started out with a new home company. And 2009 happened, the crash. So they closed their doors. I went onto the resale side, worked for a small broker, and it was during the short sale season, learned to negotiate against the banks and realized I was doing it all on my own. So I decided to get my broker's license and open up shop. I'm not going to lie, super overwhelming in the beginning with all of the paperwork and everything that needed to happen with the corporation, but got it done. Was consistently doing around 35 transactions a year. And I remember having a conversation with Jim, and people were telling me, you're going to get, burnt out, you're doing too much, da, da, da. And I said, so what's the next step? We talked about it. He helped me hire an assistant. Second year after having her, we were doing 60 plus transactions. And then that third year is when we did the 93. And so never looked back after that point. And we ratcheted down a little bit. I think the lower inventory and me just wanting to slow down and create a little bit more balance. I now have a buyer's agent, so she kind of takes the stuff that I don't have time for. But that's a little bit about me.
What made you choose real estate?
I think it was just a go-to. I had friends in the industry, and I knew a little bit about the building out and the custom side.
So one of the things we've studied in the coaching program is, what's realistic for a realtor, and Victoria is actually echoing exactly what we have found is a good real estate agent who works really diligently and professionally can close 3 sides a month on average, 36 sides a year in a reasonable amount of time. Like, take 1 full day off a week, maybe work 6 days, maybe work 50 hours. It's a lot. I'm not saying you want to do that, but if you did that, the most I see people achieve over time is about 3 sides a month. And then when they add an assistant, they can get to 5 or 6 sides a month, which is what Victoria did. I didn't really know all those numbers. That's pretty cool. I didn't know I was the one to help you with that. I honestly didn't. That's pretty cool. I feel better. So one of the things that I wanted you to speak on that I find super, I admire it a lot more than I've ever shared with you, is your mindset. Like, you're super strong, like super strong minded. And right now, I'm dealing with loan officers and my friends that are realtors, and it's a little shaky, and, doubt creeps in, and am I good enough, or is this the right thing for me, or all these other things that creep into our heads. They creep into my head once in a while. But have you ever had a time where you struggled with mindset? Tell me about that.
Yeah. I think it's a consistent thing that we struggle with on and off throughout our lives. And I know I have. I think what keeps me going and what gets me through, and I learn every year, and that's part of my mindset, is like, how do I become better? How are we going to become more efficient? What are we going to do to move forward in a different changing market? But my mindset basically stays with, goes back to my motivating factor. So obviously when I started in this, it was my girls. I had to support them. I knew I wanted to keep their lives close to what they were used to. And I wasn't going to take no. Like, I was just going to figure it out. Super persistent. Not in a rude way, but just like, no, I got to get this done. I'm just going to get it done.
Like, sometimes I think that the best way to get out of our own way is to do it for somebody else.
Yeah.
Like when I'm doing it for me, I could do it okay. But when I do it for other people, for some reason, I show up way better.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
to be conscious of that on a daily basis is a mindset, right? Is a mindset. So I think that's super important. One of the things I do around mindset, guys, is a stupid book called, I don't know if it's stupid or not. Where is it? Back to where's my journal? There it is. You guys ever use this? I think you can't see it because it's blurry. Anyways, it's called the 5-minute journal. I start every day with it. I write down 3 things I'm grateful for and 3 small things I want to get done today. So you should write that down. Every morning in our business, write down 3 things you're grateful for. It keeps me from having bad thoughts, and 3 small things that I got to get done as an originator that will help me feel like today was a success. Like I'm blurry now, so I'm not sure why. I might turn my video off while I'm doing this, but I just think that staying focused during a time like this is super important, and I want to make sure I shared that. So I want to move on to some tactics. Like, you know, I know you were a new home salesperson that gave you a database, right?
Mhm.
That's what I would think. But when you look at the business right now and the market right now, what are 3 things you're doing to get business? What are some tactics that you're doing to get business?
So we work off of a strong referral basis. But I realized when I was in new home sales that the most important person was the person in front of me. So I spent as much time, and I spend as much time with the people who call me, who are in front of me. Like my focus is on them. Tactic wise, like for sellers, I'm trying to show them how to maximize appreciation or value in their home, how to get rid of, like, get their house ready to go on market versus, and I'll have hard figures like in their neighborhood. Are there homes that are being remodeled, and are they selling at a higher value? And if we do this, this, and this, we're going to be able to sell at that level. But if you do this, you're going to sit on the market longer and possibly, have to lower your price several times. So strategize with the sellers to maximize appreciation. With the buyers,
Well, hold on right there. Hold on. So
Okay.
with your sellers, I've been coached for 24 years in the business from professional salespeople, which I never thought I would be a salesperson, but I am. But I don't like Victoria is a little humble. What she does is a 2-option close. So the seller is no longer thinking about her or somebody else. They're thinking about, should I sell with no work at this price, or should I invest and get a return on my investment at this price? And that's a 2-option close, and it works in all industries because it takes the focus off of, should I use you, and changes it to, I can see that it's up to me. And when the buyer or the seller is put in a position where they feel like it's up to them, that is being a professional consultant. A lot of us in our industry want to talk to the buyer or the seller or the borrower and be like, hey, here's how it works. Do this, 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 and this. Boom. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't like to be told what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to be told what to do. I like to be educated. I like to be given a couple options, and then I pick one, and then you help me do it. Do you do your present with your sellers? Do you go to their house, or do you do it by Zoom?
Oh, always in person.
Always.
Even when 2020 happened, we set it all up for Zoom. Nobody wanted that. And this is a person-to-person business. So yeah, always in person.
And how do you get the phone to ring with these sellers? What do you do for marketing? Just people just call you? What's happening?
Well, we've been in business for a long time, so a lot of times they do call, but we do focus on a neighborhood. So I work a lot in the 55 and older. So we do all of my material that we send out, marketing material, is focused for those communities. So, and then I'm usually selling their son or daughter's house or their mom's house, so I'm kind of on all different sides, but my focused marketing material goes out to them specifically so that they see me.
How often?
Every time we sell a house, or if we've sold 2 or 3, so at least once a month, a material piece is going out, sometimes twice, and then sometimes on other things. So if there's
The
a new
old school, just listed, just sold type of stuff?
No, not so much. Here's the homes we sold. Like, I don't take credit for anyone else's. I just said, okay, we just sold these 2 homes or these last 3 homes, and that card goes out to them, and it's all our stuff. And we post how many days on market, what we sold for. And then every once in a while, we'll do a piece comparing us to the other realtors in my neighborhood. So like how we can net you more and how we do more and how we know more. So that goes out too.
Do you name them?
No, but we do list the properties that were sold.
Oh, just like all the other homes compared to the ones that you sold?
Yeah, the last piece was, we did 7 in that neighborhood and there were 7 different realtors. So we listed their properties, we listed ours and the stats.
Yeah, what you're talking about, I think they call it farming, right? Either an
Yes.
area or a target market. What
Yeah.
else do you do? I know a couple other things that you do. I know I've done them with you. We do parties.
Yeah, we've done those. I do a lot of social events. I volunteer, I do activities in that community. So I do a pie giveaway every year. I do the run for hunger, donate. I sponsor events. So all of that.
Cool. So now switch to buyers. Like, what are some tactics, your best things right now you're doing to pick up buyers?
Most of my buyers either come from open houses or
Time out. You work open houses?
I do my own open houses. Most of my focus now is in the 55 and older, but every once in a while, like we have one on 17th Street and C Street, and they're past clients that I've worked with for a long time. So I'll hold those open houses as well. Nice.
Let's see. I should probably read these chats. How do you choose what events to participate in?
I participate in the ones that mean the most to me. Like in the beginning, it was a lot of the children's events. So that was the motivating factor back then, but it's something that means something to me. Like Run for Hunger, that community came to me and I love the community and I wanted to support that. And it had an aspect of seniors as well. So it's something that means something.
So that's a good question about how to choose what to participate in. And your answer is really good. So my question always is, how do I leverage it? Like, how do I make sure that it's a win-win? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you make sure that your brand is seen enough, or that when you sponsor these events that you get something out of it besides just giving back? Do you have a tactic for that?
Well, all of these events come with a sponsored ad. Like, I'm sponsored in whatever material they're giving out. Sometimes they ask me to do a speech or talk there. And they sponsor, like I have to have something there. Like if I donate $500 or $1,000, like, there's an ad for me.
Something that I was taught a long time ago is be highly active and highly visible. And so the smaller you focus your market to be highly active and highly visible, the more you'll be seen. And I think that's one of the things you've been really good at.
Yeah. The community is 631 homes, but there's a lot of, that's my focus.
And then, and that market turns over a lot.
It turns over a lot and they want to move to different communities. And so we specialize in all of the communities in the area. So
you guys, as a realtor, you really got to do some work on looking at your markets and their turnover. I had a friend of mine and a realtor who's still a really good friend of mine, but he's kind of retired now. His name is Roy, and he wanted to focus in an area called Arden Park, right? Which Victoria knows very well. And it's a cool neighborhood. It's where I live and I like it. And so I was going to partner with him and we were going to do this home buying seminar. And I started to do some research, and I'm a lender. I don't know if you know that, but I do home loans. People that need home loans to make it make sense for me, right? So I looked up, 72% of the properties are owned free and clear. That's not very good for me. Second thing is, in the whole zip code of 95864, when we were doing this, in the previous 12 months, there were 9 sales. Now they're all higher priced, which was what attracted him, but he didn't look at the turnover. So he's spending a bunch of time and energy in this one market, but even if he had every single deal in there, it wasn't enough. So your market has a lot of turnover. Right now, what markets do you think are attractive? If someone's out there going, man, I want to focus on a market, and obviously the senior community sounds good. Are there any other ones that stand out to you?
I think it's your circle or your sphere of influence, like wherever you can be seen as much as possible, whatever is inside you that motivates you, that like gets you excited to go to work every day. That's where you need to focus. Like,
Uh,
that's for me, that's what keeps me going.
uh, hold on a minute.
Jimmy, did you see the question from Rob Livingston?
No, you can go ahead and ask it. I just got a nugget for me, so you can ask.
Victoria, do you have a specific prospecting goal per each month?
So Jim and I have talked about this a lot. I just am nose to the grindstone, just doing whatever I need to do, because there's always an offshoot. There's always like, okay, this person needs to be called, and oh yeah, I need to do that. So that's where my focus is. I have an assistant. She kind of keeps all the background stuff going. I'm really just focused on, okay, I need to call these people today because they called me and I need to return their calls. So that's kind of where I am. I'm different.
It kind of leads me into another question. Are there more, Jonas, before I go? Because I got something.
Yeah, real quickly, he had a follow-up, Jim. Victoria, what is your follow-up strategy?
Do what I say. Like if I say I'm going to call you back, do it. If I say I'm going to get you an answer, I do it. And it's just really just sticking to that. I mean, I don't like, it's really just self-generating at this point. So I always have somebody to return a call to, do something, follow up on. It's always constant. So.
And guys, we do want to remind you, if you have questions, please put them in the chat screen. Jim and Victoria would be happy to get to them. So use that chat screen and we'll get to them.
Yeah, so I just realized why I like you so much. You are the book, The Raving Fans. Have you ever read the book, Raving Fans?
No, I haven't actually.
Okay, you should read it.
Okay.
Read the book. It's very small. I have one for you. I'll send it to you. You don't have to buy it. I will send
Okay,
it.
cool.
So Raving Fans is a simple business book. It's super simple. It's kind of silly. But there are three keys to the book, three like rules, for lack of a better word. Does anybody remember what they are? I do, so we don't have to worry about it. Rule number one, know what you want. You said, make sure you pick a market that makes you happy. Know what you want. Rule number two, know what your client wants. And rule number three is deliver +1 service. Just a little bit more than what they asked for. That's what you do. And so when you do that, the book says you won't have to market. That word of mouth will send everybody to you. And that's really what you do. It's called the law of attraction. But this is a good question. What do you say to buyers? Like when someone walks in, you, I gotta pull that back up so I can read it properly. When someone walks into your, Jonas, you're gonna have to read it for me.
Got it. The first one is, do you have a client management program that you use, Victoria?
Our CRM is, gosh, Amber does it. It's a client portal. It's very simple. Juggler, Realty Juggler.
And the second one is, what do you say to buyers at an open house to convert them to a prospect? And part B of that, do you have them sign in at an open house?
So on the sign in, I'm never forceful. I learned that in new home sales. Like they didn't always want to sign in. I wasn't going to force them to sign in, because if they weren't that interested, I didn't need to take down their information. So I don't force that. But most of the time you learn to read them. Like, do they want you to follow them around in the house and answer any questions? So I kind of stick with them. If they want me to answer questions, then I'm there. But
how do you greet them?
I just say hi. You know, it depends. If it's really busy, I'm like, hi, here's a flyer. If you have any questions, come back to me. If I have time, I'm like, hi, you know, I'm Victoria, and hopefully they answer with their name. And then we just kind of start talking like, hey, how did you find the open house? Were you just driving by? Did you see it advertised? I want to know, kind of gauge. So you're always, you know, just trying to find information on how interested they are.
So, hi, my name's Victoria, and then pause until they say, oh, I'm Jim.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. I didn't know that one. I'm going to use that one. Ooh. And then what was, keep going, Jonas, if you want.
Okay. Victoria, what value does your preferred lender give to your business, and what do you expect?
Wow.
Wow.
Tough question. That's a very tough question. Who typed that one?
We've had an awesome relationship. Like basically, I mean, there's a lot to say about that. It's just, he does what he says he's going to do. He promises and he gets it done. And if there's a bobble, because sometimes there's bobbles, he takes full responsibility. Like that is easy to sell. Like I can tell somebody, hey, if we do have a bobble, we don't have them very often, but if we do, he's going to handle it. I don't have to worry about it. And then we go on.
If I mess up, I pay, period.
Totally.
Yeah, and I answer her calls. Like if I don't answer her call, it probably sends her into shock.
No, if you don't answer your call, I call Rebecca or I call the next person in line until I get somebody to get you.
That's true.
Now you can tell the lenders are starting to jump on board. Here you go, Victoria. What did Jim say to convince you to meet him?
I can't even remember if it was you or your assistant that
I was
called
an assistant.
me.
I had a dialer do it, first of all.
Yeah.
I had a dialer back in the day, calling and setting appointments. Yeah.
And you were right. It was timing. I was getting super frustrated with the particular lender I was working with, super frustrated. And I'm like, okay. And then we went in there and then Jim knew about me. So when we went in there, he had my numbers, he knew my production, and then he wanted to know more about me. And so that I think was like, okay, I can get behind this. So that's how it started.
Cool. Was made me very nervous. What else you got, Jonas?
I am through right now. If anybody
right.
has more questions, please keep at it.
Cool. So if you guys, homework assignment from the call is for me is to reread Braving Fans. Homework assignment for me so far is to make sure I pick, if I focus on a market that makes me happy, because I'm going to be way more successful. Like I really like move up. I really like first time home buyers, and I really like move down buyers because they're doing it based on a life change, and it's exciting to see them be like pretty stoked about it. And so the move down buyers are kind of retirees, and the move up buyers, the first time home buyers are people that got their first job, just got married or just got engaged. That's what I like. I got to think about that more. That's good stuff. Okay, so I put down here to ask you about a professional buyer's presentation. So let's say you get from an open house or from a referral from a family member, someone calls you and says, hey, my name is Jim and I want to buy a house and my dad told me I had to call you. Or whatever they say, or I saw you at the open house last Saturday and my wife liked you, so I'm calling you. Whatever I say. What's your steps? What's your presentation?
So it's funny. When I first got into the business, I knew there were strategies around this, but I just did it. Like I walked in and knew I didn't do my best. What is it going to take next time? And I just was figuring out I knew I needed to have confidence. I knew what were the things I needed to get better at. And then I focused on getting better at those. So now I have the confidence. I go in, I give them a booklet. It's just with Unibind and it's a cloud CMA and we've personalized it and branded it so that it looks like us. And it's got our marketing material in it. It's got some of our flyers and strategies, market data, and then the comps for their house. And there's a lot of information and our testimonials are in the back as well. And then I have some advertisements from Forbes or 5-star or whatever award. So those are in there too.
If you guys don't have testimonials, realtors, in your presentations to both buyers and sellers, you should change that. Real testimonials from real people that are willing to write for you. I say 3 is about the right number to include in a package, but I think those are super valuable because if you're thinking about selling your family house, you're going to do some research. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Keep going.
So, and then I go in and a lot of it is listening to them. So I'm just asking questions and listening. How do they want this transaction to go? How do they see this happening? And then when I listen to them and kind of get a good feel for where they're at and what they need, then I tell them about me and tell them about what I can do that's best suited for them. So basically in the beginning, it's a lot of asking questions to see where they're at and their timing and what they need to accomplish through the transaction.
Cool. So can you tell them, I want to skip to one of the things that I've been working on myself and with anybody that'll listen that I care about is having a unique value proposition. So what's yours? I already know what it is.
As far as how I'm valued to them.
Yeah, like a unique value proposition is something that you do different that benefits them and makes it easier for them or better for them.
I'm just me selling me that I care about them.
Yeah. So what she does is everything for them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So she contacts PG&E and SMUD and garbage water people and sets the date and turns on the this and turns on the that and organizes the moving truck and probably delivers pizza. I don't know, but so when we do a deal, when we first started working together, she's like, I could tell she was starting to be willing to work with me, and then she stopped. And she said, but you can never miss a close date. And I'll tell you why. Because if you miss a close date, it's work for me. I have to go call everybody and move the dates. I have to do all this stuff because it's one of the things I promise to my clients that I don't think anybody else does. And that is a unique value proposition, you guys. Like,
yeah,
I still haven't moved my mail from the last time I moved. Like, it's a pain going in and changing and doing all that stuff. So for her to be organized enough to do it for me, I would choose her just on that. Honestly, I would. A person like me, done. Because it's a big, like, what is your unique thing, guys? What do you do different? What sets you apart? What is it? What's special about you? That's really what I think as a realtor or a lender, you have to be aware of and then kind of exploit it, honestly.
Yeah, and we do. And that was, Amber helps out so much, but we do everything and anything they want. Any question they're going to ask, if I don't have the answer, I go get it because I'm going to need that answer later on for somebody else.
Yep. That is excellent stuff. Keep the questions coming. We did those two things. Hold on a minute. So if you were, I read one that I don't think was asked. If you were new to the business right now, this may be tough for you because you grew up in the builder family. I did not know that, or at least if I did know it, I forgot it. But it does explain a lot. So if you, one of the things that Victoria is she is an expert. Like, she knows, like, when she tells me to look at a property as an investor, I'll go look at it without even doing the math yet, because she wouldn't tell me to go look at it if she hadn't already done the math. She is very much an expert. And she is willing to tell people what to do. So the way I edify Victoria when she refers someone to me, and you got to have this conversation with your lenders, the realtors that are out there. You got to have this conversation with them if you haven't had it yet. How you got to tell them how you want to be referred and edified, and you got to ask your lender how I want to be referred and edified. Because when a borrower goes through, like Victoria's clients, a lot of them they're either first-time home buyers or they're seniors, it seems to me, most of the time. Like, they're referred by their dad or mom, or they're someone moving around that community, and they're both nervous. And when they come sit in front of me, I let them know, listen, if I was going to do real estate, Victoria is someone I would do real estate with, because most professional, keeps her promises. And if she don't think you should buy the house, she basically won't let you. And that is the truth. And I don't know a lot of realtors. I've seen it twice. People wanted the house, and she's like, no, you don't.
Yeah. That's a biggie with the buyers, because we didn't really talk about what we do for buyers.
Yeah, I want to just let's go there.
Okay, so buyers, I'm their extra set of eyes and ears, and I tell them, hey, I'm going to tell you everything I think about this house. It's my opinion. I'm going to do whatever you want, but I really will. Like, if you're my sister or my mom or me, if this is a purchase for me, this is what I would be looking at. So here's the things. And you get to know that by spending time with your home inspectors, going through the houses, knowing what to look for, spending time with your pest inspectors, looking at dry rot. And we're not the experts, but you can start to see it. And you can start to say, okay, you're going to look at this possibly on an older home. Here are the things to look at, these kind of things. So I'm always looking out for them. Totally, like 100%.
Nice. So again, what would you say to, how would you advise someone breaking into the business? What would you tell them to do right now? Like if you're, I don't know, one of your friends was going to be a realtor and wasn't going to work for you, what would you tell them to do?
I would probably have them start with a team, somewhere where they can get a lot of their knowledge base. And when you start with a team, you're going to get kind of thrown into the fire. So they're hopefully doing a lot of transactions. You're having to wear a lot of different hats. And then the first time they ask you to do an open house, just maximize that open house. Like totally any open house, anytime you get to be in front of people, that's walking the houses ahead of time. I have realtor friends and I don't do this anymore, but 100 flyers, walk the neighborhood, let them know about the open house. I have agents that hold open houses specifically just for the neighbors. So whatever you can do to get as many people, see as many people, talk to as many people. And then that, because even though you're new, you look like the expert. Like you're the open house person. You're the go-to.
So walk the neighborhood and deliver 100 flyers and do a special evening neighbors only open house, like the Thursday before the Saturday or something?
Yep.
How, like for like 30 minutes or an hour?
It could just be as simple as just, this is the time I'm going to be there. Come stroll through and meet us. Like it doesn't have to be anything specific, 2 hours or 1 hour, whatever you want to say.
Yeah. Big tip to maximize the open houses if you're going to do it. I've never thought about that special. I'm sure you guys all have, but I have never thought about the special one Thursday night to pick up the listings in the neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's no other agent doing that.
But you never know. They might have a friend or a parent or a relative that wants to move into the neighborhood as well.
Nice. All right. Questions from you guys? Jonas, if you can read the chat. If you guys have questions for Victoria, and before I ask her if she has any other things that she wants to share about her boutique office and her boutique real estate style, try to put them in the chat. So what do you see coming? Like, what's your plan for the rest of this year and moving forward in this market? Because you were super consistent between 2000, like the kind of the goal years were 2021, and then it kind of slowed down mid 22, but you did about the same size in 22 as you did in 21. So, what do you see coming and how are you going to handle it?
I think we're still going to have low inventory. And again, that I'm on the listing side primarily. So it's maximizing those open houses. I still hold my own open houses and I get a lot of buyer referrals and listing referrals from those open houses. So as far as what I see coming, I kind of have already seen us pick up. There's a lot of things in the news that I don't prescribe to. I don't really even watch too much. I watch financial news, but mindset wise, we talk about it a lot. I try to focus on the positive. And so a lot of the times what I'm seeing in the market versus what the news is saying is totally different. And over the last, I would say 6 weeks, we've been really starting to see a pickup in activity. Offers are coming back in. Multiple offers are starting to be seen. So that's what we're seeing.
So one of the things that you do that is pretty rare is you kind of, it depends a little bit, but a lot of times you have people require they get pre-approved with me, even if they don't use me when they're making an offer on one of your listings. Yes.
And if they're a buyer, obviously, security rise when you're buyer, never take a buyer out unless they're pre-approved. And obviously I trust you, so that's who they go to. And then on the listing side, yes, we have them pre-approved. I've been down the road too many times where another lender promised the sun, moon, and stars. And 2 days before we're going to close, they're like, I got a problem with employment, or I got a problem. And I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. So at least we know the deal's strong, even if they're not going to use Jim. Hopefully they do, but if they're not, at least we know it's strong.
I had to bring up the question because I think people doubt me sometimes. She puts my name in MLS and people have to call me.
Yeah.
We worked around with that. I think the seller can require it.
Yeah, it has to be
because
seller.
They're not the realtor.
Yeah.
The seller can require it. And that's how we did it. But it's really, do I get all those loans? No. but I do call her and say, that's a for sure deal.
Mhm.
You know, they may or may not use me, but that's a for sure deal. You could be, your seller can be confident. So I'm willing to help her with her sellers, even if I don't get the deal. And that's like a true partnership, right? Nothing
Mhm.
worse than being in escrow for 40 days and it falling out.
Yeah, serious.
Nothing worse. All right, open it up to Q&A. Anything else that you want to wrap up with? Well, maybe we're getting some questions. I know what they're going to ask me after you hang up. So if they're going to ask me after you hang up is, can I get her marketing pieces? Can I get her package that she shows to listing agents? So if you want to share that with me later, I'll get a PDF of it. And
Okay.
you guys out there, the realtors out there, those kind of marketing pieces and stuff that you want, whatever Victoria's comfortable with sharing, I'll put it in a PDF. And then you will be, if you're on listening to this, you'll be able to get it from the loan officer you work with at Summit Funding. So I don't want you to reach out directly to Victoria. Reach out to your loan rep. I'll get the stuff from her and give it to her. She's been super generous with her time today, trying to help us all do better at business. So I will definitely help facilitate that. Before we kind of get final thoughts, any last questions from anybody?
I got a couple here, Jim, if you're okay.
I'm ready.
Perfect. So Victoria, if you were forced to start over again, give us one tactic that you would start over with to grow your business.
She said open houses. Was that the question I asked?
The one tactic obviously is focus on the people in front of you. So if you're brand new to the business and you're not on a team yet, do you belong to a church? Do you belong to, like, where is your main people, your friends and family? And when I broke into this, I totally focused on real estate all the time. If I wasn't in front of a person doing a transaction or working on a transaction, I was taking a class. I was doing real estate. I was thinking real estate all the time. And so when I was naturally with my people, my sphere, I was talking about real estate because that's what I was doing. And then that kind of just, if you're real estate, then real estate comes to you.
That's a great answer.
Next, with production being down, what business expenses are you cutting, and what do you cut first? And then how do you personally ensure that you haven't cut too deep?
I keep my overhead low. Like, I know I used to have an office and I didn't need the overhead because I was never in it. I was always in somebody else's house. That's my office or my home office. So I cut that years ago. Marketing probably literally is the first piece I cut. I'm a person, I want to be out. I mean, I'm going to spend my time out in front of people before I spend it just sending a mailer out. So that's probably the first thing. And we don't, I mean, it's always, we just look at production. As long as production's continuing and whatever we're doing, if we have to shift, then we make that shift. So this market shift, we shifted into a lot more touches with our people that we were working with. Lot more market data, sharing market data on a Monday or Tuesday, and then closing the week out with a Friday touch on different marketing material. It's just all about the touches now. You're spending much more time with these people. Like, in escrows are longer, they fall out, they're contingent. Listing periods are longer. So it's just about touching constantly.
Wow. Stay in touch, don't stay away.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Victoria, what are some of the non-negotiable things that you feel you must do every day to remain successful in your business?
Staying positive. So I watch my mindset a lot. I work on it a lot. I realized that if I was focusing on lack or anything negative, that's what I was going to start to bring into my life. And when I started focusing on the positive and figuring out why I want something, like actually feeling why I want something, those things started to come to me. So I really work hard at staying positive. And if I realize there's a self-doubt or there's a lack mentality going on, I switch it up. Like, that is what I work the hardest at on a continual basis.
Victoria, how do you handle buyer and seller objections right now?
Well, on the seller side, we actually try to get ahead of most of the objections on the way we prepare the house. So I talk to them about, okay, this is If I'm a buyer, I walk into your house, these are the objections I'm going to see right off the bat. And that's their first impression. So right there with the seller, we're trying to eliminate those. With a buyer, I just try to get down to the core. Like, is this a non-movable objection, or is it something I can work over? Like if it's the neighborhood, maybe I need to teach them a little bit more about the neighborhood. Why are they moving? I just go into question mode, like try and find out what's their core objection. Sometimes those objections come and they're just to throw you off, like push you away. So I just pay attention, just listen and look and hear.
That's why her and I work together, Jonas. The 3 whys. Why? They only get to the truth, so the third or fourth one. That's honest.
The last one up here is what is your monthly and annual marketing budget?
Oh, I'm really bad with that. Amber handles all of that. I'm fortunate. I've got a lot coming in, and so it's self-driven. I don't have a specific amount. It's more of like in my heart, what do I want to give away?
What do you net as a percentage? 50%, 70%? What do you think?
From a transaction, each transaction?
Like on your year, you're at the end of the year, right? Your gross revenue was X amount of dollars, and your net revenue that you had to pay taxes on was Y. What's the percentage? You have a guess?
Well, I have the corporation, so I write a lot off. So that's going to be skewed a little bit, but probably easily 30% net, 35%. But I have a lot of it in the business too.
What we see traditionally is 50%.
Yeah, it's probably there. It's just in different areas, reinvested in certain areas as well.
Sorry, Jonas, go ahead.
That is it on the questions from our side. If anybody has any more, please put them up on the screen.
Well, it's 12:51, so I think we're going to wrap up. I want to finish with just saying, wow, it was even more fun than I thought it was going to be. I super appreciate you making time to do this for me. It was a favor, and I didn't know how it was going to go, and I thought you just friggin' killed it. I learned more about you than I knew. And I just want to tell you thank you. I really appreciate it.
You're so welcome.
Sweet. So if you guys want her marketing stuff, I will find out what she's willing to share. I'll put it on a PDF, email your loan officer, and I will get it out to them. Let's say, give me a day and a half. So by the end of the day tomorrow. And you guys have a great day. Bye.
Guys, our next Lunch and Learn, of course, is the third Tuesday of every month. So it will be the third Tuesday in April at 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Victoria, Jimmy, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, guys.